Episode 27. Sugar Shane, 27.
27.
27 of these things that we've been doing, man.
Hey, I apologize. I haven't learned that guitar intro yet for that, the intro song.
Yeah, I thought you would play it for us yourself.
One of these days I will. I'll learn it.
Well, you got to get there, man. It's episode 27, presented by our good friends at Oakley. You can see on the middle of the table, we've got the Sutros, one of my favorite glasses to wear, and myself, even today, Sugar, I've got the Oakley shoes, Oakley shorts, Oakley shirt, some of the most comfortable stuff that I have in the closet to put on because I love wearing my Oakley stuff.
I wish I had it on, but I just got off work, so I'm wearing work clothes, uncomfortable as hell.
That's great.
Work
That's
boots,
great.
yeah.
Well, we've got a guest on episode 27 that might know a little thing about some Oakley air brakes. How about the number 44, Mr. Benny Bloss?
Thanks for having me.
Man, it's awesome to have you here. We greatly appreciate it. I know your time, your schedule, and everything going on with this race series, but man, it's awesome to have you here. And I want to dive in a bit here throughout this episode to get people to learn Benny Bloss. Mm-hmm. Get me the history, give me the details, get all the way up from growing up racing through the amateurs, pros to where we are now. So we're going to dive into some of that stuff. Hey. We apologize to everybody though. We gotta say a quick sorry because we haven't had an episode in a couple weeks. Our producer sitting back here behind the screen, Mr. Tyler Kasha, just had what is it? 17th baby, Tyler?
18th.
Oh,
no, for real, Tyler. How many babies you got now?
I lost count.
Oh my goodness.
What is it? 3 or 4? What is it?
3.
Oh,
that's not that many.
Oh, well, I thought it was more than that. I thought he was up to 7 or 8, but either way.
Congrats, Tyler.
Congrats to Tyler, his family, beautiful wife, Nicole. They're loving this new baby. You can see how he's trimmed his beard, no gray hairs and anything. He's good to go.
He looks tired as hell.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. I was trying to say great.
Hey, you know what else? You know who else looks kind of good right now is Benny Bloss, because the last time I saw him, he was covered in mud.
Yeah.
So you clean up pretty good, so that's cool.
Yeah, probably took a couple days to get through that one, which we're going to get into that. But Mr. Benny Bloss coming on the episode presented by Oakley. And I know, you're an Oakley athlete and you've got the Oakley air brakes and get to use those. I think you probably went through quite a bit of tear-offs and the roll-off system or whatever you were using this past weekend up there. But I want to say a huge thank you to Oakley for having them. But Mr. Benny, I want to get into learning, and what we do on this show and the people is try and get an in-depth look and peel the onion back on Benny Bloss. And let's talk about getting into this thing. Let's start at the very beginning real quick. I want the story of Benny. Where'd you grow up? What's hometown?
So I grew up in Oak Grove, Missouri. I actually still live in that house.
Really?
My parents, we grew up on 60 acres, 50 acres, 60 acres.
Okay.
Had a track, everything, for me to start riding with. I think we moved there when I was 6, possibly. So grew up in that house, and then maybe a year ago, my parents built a new house, and I took their old house.
Oh, there you go.
So their new house is still on the same property, so I don't live there right now, but for the summertime, I'll probably be back there.
So when you say you moved there at roughly 6,
mm-hmm.
Were you already riding at that time, or did you were not into moto at that point?
So I got an XR50 for my 6th birthday.
Okay.
My cousin had got a 110 for Christmas, and I was just like, wow, that's the coolest thing ever. I have to have one. So I got a 50, and that day, my dad took me out to a friend of his house and rode in the field, and it was just like, I love this. Watched a night race maybe that Friday, and I was like, the next week, I'm like, we got to go back because I want to race. And I raced.
Awesome.
And then the crazy thing is the property that my dad's friend owned is the house that we live in now. Like, he bought it from them a couple months later, maybe. So
you raced the very next weekend after watching a race?
Yeah, I watched it. We went to the local night race, and I was just like, I have to do this.
How'd you do on that first race?
It was not good. I think I got maybe like 6th out of 6, maybe.
Nice.
And I remember there was a bunch of friends and family there, and after the race, when you exit the track, they all did they were all like stood in a line and made like this arch, and they were like wanted me to ride through it,
Like soccer or
yeah,
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like I got off the bike and I sat there and I cried because I'm like, I don't want to do this. I absolutely want nothing.
So you were devastated about the race results, or
Not the race results. I just didn't want to go through they embarrassed me.
oh, okay.
Well, we got to tell Benny
I was
because
sixth.
I think he's probably learned it from now in his career. But you know when you say that you got sixth, you don't say out of six.
I mean, Benny's honest.
Yeah, in today's
last.
world, you just say, "Oh, I got six." You leave the rest of it to interpretation.
Man, that's pretty impressive. 6, your first race.
Yeah, no, it was good. Almost a top 5. Did beat me one, but yeah.
So you start out there, 6 years old. You guys are in Missouri. You said Oak Grove.
Oak Grove, just outside Kansas City.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think I did maybe one more race on the XR50, and my dad bought me a Polini Senior
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
Went from XR, skipped the juniors, straight to a senior,
Yeah.
and
So your dad's like, aggressive. Like, no,
Oh, yeah.
you need to go a little faster.
yeah, no, we stepped up, and then it was like I was horrible. Obviously, like I just started, I was terrible, and we got a track built at the house, and it's just like the only thing I wanted to do was ride dirt bikes. Like I just loved it, and progressively got better. I think I went from like maybe 1 year, like I started doing more races in Missouri, and I was horrible. I'd get lapped by all these people, and like within a year, I started beating those people. Like I really got better quick, and then kind of was just okay
Yeah.
for a while.
You got to tell me what's the racing scene like in Missouri?
Honestly, it's pretty good.
Really?
It was pretty good. I don't race there much anymore, but
Right.
like there was a handful of tracks within an hour of my house, and
Yeah.
we had Tanner Stack and Tristan Stack. They used to race. They lived 5 minutes from me, so they had a track. I had a track. A couple other people had tracks. Just like I think there was 4 private tracks within like 5 minutes of my house.
That's got to probably help, obviously, knowing those kids, but having your own track at home from going to straight up rookie.
Yeah.
And so you probably rode as much as you wanted or whatever. And
Yeah.
so that's probably why within a year you started beating kids and obviously gaining a little bit of confidence,
Yeah, it was like I was going to school and then I would come home and it's like all I wanted to do was ride.
Yeah.
So I would ride. And I remember my dad hired a coach, just like a local pro guy, to coach me. And all he would have me do is circle drills. And I hated it. And I complained, and I was just like, I want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But it did make me better.
Yeah.
I hated them, but I did them. And
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
So you go from the 56 years old, you're doing local stuff then?
Yeah.
I mean, so you stay pretty close to home, like just doing some night race and local-
Yeah, like Missouri State races. I started doing some of those a couple years in, and then I want to say my first national would have been probably Lake Whitney,
Yeah.
and I was on 50s. Well, I rode 50s and 60s, and I had an 80. I think I was 7 or 8, and there was a set of 85 7 to 11. And at Whitney, they had like the big hill.
Yep.
65s, 50s didn't go up it, but 80s did. And I was like, I have to go up it. I don't know why, but I was just like, I was obsessed and I wanted to do it. And so I raced 50s, 60s, and 80s at Whitney.
Nice.
And then the next week we went to Oak Hill and I raced 50s, 60s, and 80s, and I had back-to-back motos. It was like I did a 50 race, and then there was a race, and then I did an 80, and then there was a race, and I did a 65. And it was miserable. But then like I started dabbling into more national stuff, but
So you
I wasn't good.
Would you say that kind of transition when you get onto 65s then?
Yeah. Like I did maybe 2-3 nationals on a 50, and then even on 65s, I didn't do a lot of that.
Yeah.
It was mostly still like Missouri State stuff, but when I got on 80s, it was like, okay, let's go to some bigger races.
And that's at 7 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the time frame there is pretty damn quick.
It was quick. So I
Wow.
mean, 6th birthday, first time I ever rode, and then I raced an 80 at 7 at a national.
Nice.
That's quick.
I think my birthday's in March, so like Whitney's like the beginning of March, and I turned 8, so like really it's 2 years, but
Yeah.
pretty quick. I
Yeah.
think I went to Loretta's, was my first year, 06,
On what?
on
85?
50 and 60.
Oh, really?
And then 07, I did 80s at Loretta's. And then I didn't go to Loretta's until 2013. I got hurt.
Yeah.
Every single year within like, it would either be like I did good at the regional and I qualified and then I got hurt a week or two later, or right before the regional I would crash and break something. So
Consecutively, you
yes,
went that many years?
every single year.
Wow.
I
That had to have been like devastating as a kid. You know?
yeah, it was horrible. Because like on 85s, I had a couple years where it was like I did good at the nationals, like where I would be like top fives. Lake Whitney, 2009, I won my first title, and in that moto, I jumped on a red cross flag, and so they took it away. So like I did the podium thing and everything, and like I was so excited, and like 4 hours later, they were like, "Wow, Alexander Fry's now the champion." I was like, okay, this is horrible. But like that year, 2009 was a really good year for me. And then 2010, I was 12 and I moved up to 125s, skipped super minis.
Yeah.
So I rode the younger age group class 85s and then just straight to 125s.
What was that because you were
7 feet tall.
like a taller kid, or?
Yeah, way too tall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
7'3" on an 85.
I was way too big for the 80.
Would you say that hurt you or helped you as far as like jumping to 85s that quick?
I think it helped me. I rode 125s from ages...
Or 125, sorry.
Yeah, I rode ages 12 to 14. I rode 125s only. I did not ride a 4-stroke, like not even jumped on a friend's here and there, like only 125s, which I feel like was good. Where like now when kids go to big bikes, it's like most don't even ride 125s. They just go to a 250.
Well, and that's, I mean, we're going to talk about it when we get into it, but you're at the compound,
Yeah.
the dog pound, and you get to see, and you get somebody like Drew Adams that goes from super mini, skips 125s altogether and goes straight to a 250 at 14 years old. I mean,
And riding Supercross too. Like,
yeah, and
you're not just
honestly doing well. I mean, there's so many variables in that. So for you being taller, going to a big bike frame, even a 125, it might not be a 4-stroke, but it's a big bike frame.
yeah.
And then for him, because his size going straight to the 250, there's not really is there a need for a 125, right now? I mean, that's one of the biggest debates out there. I mean, do you want to go to a big bike frame and just get a feel of the size with the 2-stroke power as a transition, or do you want to skip it completely and go straight to a 254 stroke?
Well, I mean, they still have those classes in all the majors.
Yeah.
So it's there kind of is a need as long as they keep holding those classes, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I feel like the skills that you learn on a 125 and like learning to ride a 125 are like pretty necessary for you. But I mean, if you're not going to ride a 2-stroke, maybe not. But
yeah, I think that's the mind frame right now, is that there's no pro racing in a 2-stroke. So if you can get on a 4-stroke earlier, then you're getting that much more progression on the 4-stroke until you are ready to go pro racing. So that's always been one of those debates that I have with people. Like when we're at the track and they talk about, well, what's the next step? My son's on a super mini, should we go to the 125 or should we go to the 250? I'm like, well, there's a pro and a con to each.
yeah, I feel like nowadays too is a little bit different, where it's like 125s were more of a thing when I was 12.
Yeah.
Like, but I remember, so it's 2010, I broke my elbow really bad at Millville, lap 1, like on a sight lap. I fell over in the corner before the finish line and compound fractured my elbow in 2 spots. And like, I almost quit racing after that. I think it was like 10 months I didn't ride a dirt bike.
Really?
I've had 5 surgeries on that elbow from that injury.
Jeez.
Wow.
And so in 2009, I was homeschooled. 2010, I was going to do the homeschool thing the whole year or whatever. And then, so like 2010, 11, I would have been homeschooled, but this had happened in May. So my parents sent me to Catholic school, which I'd only been to public school, so I go to Catholic school, this private school, and it's
Guess what? You're going to hang out with the nuns, boy.
like it was really good for me. And like at that point in my racing, like I had finally got back on the bike after almost a year, and like I'm riding again. But it's like I tested, and I was going to go to a Catholic high school, like private high school, and like that was going to be it. And then like a week before everything was like set to go, dropped out of that, did homeschool for high school, and I went to master pools and started riding again more. And
Game changer.
it was just like
Game changer.
in a week, it was like the decisions had changed so much, and I was on big bikes. I had got on 250s then a year after that, maybe. So like when I first went to master pools, I was only on 125s, and Jerry loved it. Like he was like, you don't need a 250. And so I did that for like a year, and then I ended up getting a 250, and it was so much better, especially for my size.
Oh, and another thing that you have to consider with that whole 125 thing is cost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
some families, like, dude, they're like, oh, 4-stroke, man, I don't want to
especially-
rebuild that engine, you know, like,
Especially probably at that time.
yeah.
You know, I mean, because 4-strokes are still fairly new when you're talking. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking this 2010, 2012-ish transition.
Yeah.
So, I mean, go through, you know, Benny, some of the amateur stuff. I mean, any highlights in that amateur? I mean, you said you went to Loretta's, what, 13?
Yeah, so I had finally gone back in 13. In 10 and 11, I didn't even try. And then 12, I think I gotten hurt maybe. And so like at that point, it's just like, do I even try to go to Loretta's anymore? But it's like,
Yeah.
if I want to race serious,
Yeah.
you have to go there, right? So in 2013, I had moved and started training with Robbie Raynard in Oklahoma.
Yep.
And like things were really going well for me for the summer.
Well,
And,
I mean, that's fairly close to you guys.
yeah, it's 5 hours from my house.
Yeah.
So it's nice because like I had gone from training in Texas, then I went to Georgia, kind of all over. So then it's like going to Oklahoma is like super nice because my mom can go home all the time. And 13 Loretta's, I went 16-1 DNF.
Oh, wow.
It was horrible. Like it was like
16-1 DNF.
16 was like all right. I remember I had an asthma attack in the moto,
Nice.
like a lap to go, and like I'm freaking out, like dying. And
Yeah.
I remember riding back to the pit. We were parked way in the back, and I'm like freaking out trying to get back so I can breathe, right? And I clipped the awning of our motorhome
wow.
as we're going into the pit and crashed like super hard in the pit area. And like I'm just laying on the ground, and a friend of mine came up and he gave me my inhaler.
Yeah.
And then Moto 2, just like best moment of my life. And then crashed lap 1 of last Moto.
So what class would that have been?
Schoolboy 2.
Okay.
Schoolboy 2. So it was like, I did pretty good. And then I then won a couple titles. I think maybe I won 2 titles at Mineo's that year after that. And then Spring Nationals, I won maybe like 4 titles, did really good. Loretta's that year, I really think I would have won both classes, 250B and 450B limited. And I decided, like, it's Loretta's, right? Everyone goes, plays in the river, plays in the creek, whatever.
Right.
Jumped off a tree, hit my foot on something on the bottom. Don't know what it was. But like it had been like, I jumped out of this tree 7 times.
Yeah.
And I didn't have shoes on. But my dad, he was watching, and he was like, he said some stuff to me. He's like, call me a baby because I wouldn't do a gainer. And I'm like, I'll do a front flip. So I did a front flip, hit something on the bottom, and I was like, I cut my foot. I don't know how bad, but I cut my foot. And I got out of the water and I looked, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is bad. And I go to the hospital in like right there by the track at Loretta's, and the doctor like walks in and he goes, I'm not touching you. Send him to Nashville in an ambulance.
Really?
And he's like, you cut your artery. And I
Oh.
was like, oh gosh.
Oh man.
And like at this time, like I didn't really know what that meant, but I was like, anytime I'd ever heard of somebody cutting their artery, it's like they're dying.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I start freaking out.
Yeah, I bet.
I was like, I'm gonna die.
You're going to bleed out.
Yeah.
This is
it
not.
for me.
This is not good. This is not good.
Go to Nashville, and they're like, oh, you're fine. We'll give you some stitches. Got some internal stitches, got some outside stitches, and they're like, I was like, can I race? And they're like, yeah, why not? If you can take the pain. So I raced, got second in 450B limited, didn't ride 250B, and really hurt my chances at getting a ride. So it was pretty disappointing for me.
Have you chopped that tree down yet? Have you been back?
Yeah, the next year I went back and I looked at it and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm such an idiot. My dad was like, they had me on lockdown that whole next year.
Yeah, I bet.
Dude, there's a lot of people that don't realize that, though. You know, I mean, we've done a lot of stuff in the amateur world of racing, and, you know, you go to Loretta's year after year. I mean, Shane and I have been up there a couple years in a row now, and it's, you know, you get these families, and you want it to be a fun week. You want it to be a fun trip, but you also have to worry about things like that. I mean, I know that there was somebody that mentioned getting sick just from, like, and I'm not saying specifically from the creek or whatever, but somebody getting sick from, you know, bacteria or whatever. And then your whole week is down. And it's like, man, you're up there for 10, 12 days now. I mean, with people getting up there so early, and the next thing you know, your whole week is done. And just like you know, you're having fun, being a kid, and you jump out of a tree. And, you know, I think there was somebody that we knew a couple of years ago that I think the day they got there, the rider took a bicycle and either got on that pump track or was riding around the pit area and broke their arm the day they got there.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've put in all this work, you've gone through the area, you've gone through the regional, and then it all it's ripped away, you know, from something silly.
Yeah.
You know?
It never even crossed my mind either.
Yeah.
Like the funny thing is so it was just a friend of mine and I, like, we had gone to this tree because we'd heard about it. Like, it was past the town, just like off the road. And like, it took us a bit to find it. We find it and we both climbed up in the tree, and it was like, oh no, we forgot to check the water. Didn't even think about it, right?
Right.
And I was like, I'm not jumping in. And my friend jumped in from the tree. No idea what it's like down there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like, fine. So we jumped it out probably 6 times. And there was like another kid there, and I wanted him to get a video of me doing a front flip from the tree, and his phone died. And so I was like, okay, let's go back and get our phones. So we went back, got the phones, came back, and that's when it happened. Well, honestly, though, it probably would have been fine if I wore shoes.
Yeah.
But I was not thinking about that at the time.
So go through the cut artery in the foot and get through that year at Loretta's. Outside of, you know, Loretta's or amateur career, I mean, what was the highs? What was the lows of going through amateur racing?
So, like, amateur racing up until that year was pretty terrible for me. Like, I had some flashes, like some good races, but not really. Like, I was just okay.
So all low.
Pretty much all low. And then, like, 2014, like, Spring Nationals was awesome. And then Loretta's, I cut my foot. I couldn't walk. Like, I crutched to the line. I crutched to the podium, but I still, like, I won a moto, got second overall. Like, it was good. And then raced Monster Cup in the amateur all-stars class, and I got third, which was extremely unexpected for me.
So that would have been, what, October of 14?
Yeah. So my grandma died like 3 days before that, on my girlfriend's birthday, who's my wife now. And so, like, it's an emotional weekend. And, like, I was okay in qualifying, and I was like, man, if I could just get top 10, like, that would be awesome. Wow. First moto got third, second moto got fourth for third overall, and it was just like,
what?
I was just like, where did this come from?
How much preparation did you do before that? That was obviously your first Supercross experience?
Yeah, so I had messed around on a Supercross track maybe like 2 or 3 times before that, but maybe a month up, like leading up to Monster Cup, I was like riding a Supercross track every day.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't have much because I had to let my foot heal from Loretta's.
Right.
So that's 2014, October, go to Monster Cup, get a podium. What makes the decision from there? I mean, are you thinking about pro racing at that time?
100%. And, like, I'm trying to talk to, like,
everybody.
Anyone that I can, right?
Yeah.
And
hey, look at me.
so it's like, then we're training for Minios. And I was going so fast. I just was like, everything was clicking super good. And like a week before, we were at a local track in Oklahoma, and I was on Robbie's 450, and Sexton, I was like messing with him, on the track. Like I'd go slow and like hold him up, and then I'd pull away from him, and like I was just messing with him a lot. And I remember I scrubbed a jump, and I caught my foot on the face, feet above my head, just crashed really hard, dislocated my shoulder, had to have surgery a week before Minios. And it's just like again I get hurt. It's like things are starting to go up, and it's just falls flat on its face. So missed Minios, missed the spring nationals, got back on a bike like a day before my area, rode the area, was okay, did pretty good at the regional. I think I got second, but I qualified. And at that point, like it was like, do I race 250A and Open Pro Sport, or do I race Open Pro Sport and 450A? And like I pretty much only practiced a 450 at this point. Like I was big, 250s are expensive.
Yep.
And so my dad and I made the decision I would ride 450A and Open Pro Sport, which we knew, like, if I want to go pro racing, I probably should ride a 250. And teams are going to look at me like, if you're not riding a 250, then, you know, go to Loretta's, win Open Pro. I think I got third in 450A, and I won the Horizon Award. And, like, it was – then I'm just at all-time high, right?
Right.
And –
so that's probably the highest peak of the amateur side, right?
Yeah, completely. And so then it's, I think there were 3 outdoors after that. Unadilla, I want to say it was Unadilla, Utah, and Ironman were after Loretta's. And so I was going to do all 3 of those for Rock River, Cycle Trader at the time. And I crashed the week after Loretta's and got a concussion. So I skipped Unadilla and Utah, and then I raced Ironman in the 450 class.
Yeah. August 15th.
Yep.
Or no, August 22nd. August 22nd, 2015.
Yeah, 2015, August. I raced Ironman in the 450 class. And I don't even know how I did. 16th, maybe? 15th? Yeah.
15th overall.
Which I felt like was, for my first race in the 450 class, like I was pretty stoked.
I'd be pretty happy about that.
Yeah. And at the time, like it was, Tony Alessi messaged me on Facebook Sunday after Loretta's. And I was like, is this some kind of joke? Like somebody messing with me with like a fake page with like his email and his phone number, like call me. And so I like talked to him or whatever. And that he wanted me to ride for them. But he was like, he wanted me to ride 450. But at the time, like, I think you had to, I don't know if you had to make a main in the 250 class to be able to ride the 450.
Yeah,
like
you
couldn't just go straight to the 450 class.
Yeah.
And we were like, so he's like, if you do whatever you need to do to get your 450 license, then you can ride 450 for us. And so it was like, that was one option. Blue Buffalo was another option. And then Cycle Trader was another possible option. But like they wanted me to ride I think Cycle Trader was like, you can ride West Coast. But at the time, I didn't have a Supercross license because it was like the road to Supercross thing through Arena Cross.
Yep.
So I had to do that. And they're like, after you do that, then you can race the remaining West Coast races. And I was like, well, that's like, I don't really get a full season at that point. So went with Blue Buffalo, and it didn't go well.
You rode that bike with the crazy plastics?
The huge plastic.
When I signed the deal, Larry Brooks was the team manager, and when I had signed the deal, I was told like, you're not gonna have to race with the front thing. That was the only thing that I was like, I don't want to race with the front.
Yeah.
Just mostly because like when you're riding it, it's like that's all you see.
It's distracting.
But things didn't work out, and we quit the team Tuesday before the first race, Atlanta. And I had a 250, my Monster Cup bike, and so I raced Atlanta on that and filled in for Cycle Trader for the next 3 races. And like I did pretty good at the first race, maybe like 14th or something. And then I think Daytona was the first Cycle Trader race, maybe got 11th. I think I remember battling with Tyler Bowers like the whole main. He was on PC, and I was just like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like I'm having the time of my life. But like really I'm not doing that good.
Yeah, Daytona was a P11.
P11.
Then you go to Toronto.
P7, I think.
Yep.
So that was like a crazy race, right? So I remember the gate drops. and my bike was in neutral. I didn't shift into gear, and the gate drops for the main event.
Nice. It helps if you're in gear.
I came around the third corner in like 6th.
Oh, wow.
Malcolm Stewart's on one side of me, and I think it was J-Mart is on the other side of me, and the two of them caused a massive first turn pileup.
Oh, okay.
So it's like somebody's watching over me.
Yeah.
And that, like, I crashed like 2 times, went off the track 4 times in that race, and it was like that's my best 250 result. And so I did like the 3 races for Cycle Trader and maybe another 2 back on my old bike. And then, so I'm at this is Friday before St. Louis. I'm in St. Louis at the zoo with my wife and a friend of mine and his wife.
Home race.
And I get a call at it's like 11 a.m. on Friday. And it's like, hey, how would you feel about filling in for BTO in the 450 class on a KTM? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And they're like, okay, what about tomorrow? Like doing it tomorrow. And I was like, sure. Never ridden a KTM. I don't think I'd ever ridden a KTM.
Yeah.
Like ever. Never ridden a 450 on Supercross. But I'm like, it's an opportunity I can't miss, right?
Yeah.
And like things didn't work out like to get the paperwork and everything done, so I didn't do it. But then I filled in the last 3 races for them.
Yeah.
And like the first race was rocky, but
Yeah, I was about to say, how'd that experience go on 450? You never doing it on Supercross.
so I crashed 11 times at Foxborough, which was
11 times?
throughout the day.
Oh, throughout the day.
Throughout the day, I crashed
Yeah.
11 times. So it was muddy. It
Yeah.
rained a bunch. So practice was muddy. I qualified for the night show on my very last lap, rolling the whoops. Like it was horrible. And
Yeah.
then I almost made the main, missed it, I think by 1 in the LCQ maybe. Go to New York the next weekend, made the main, did probably like a 20th maybe. And then was not good. It was my first time doing a 20-lap main. And so then the next week was Vegas, and it was the mudder. It's like we did practice, and it was dry. And then just pours, like, while I'm on the track for the last practice. And I remember, like, at one point in the main event, I was in, like, 9th and, like, riding good. And I was like, I might top 10 a 450 main event. Second main event ever in the 450 class. And I crashed so hard. And it just, I don't know what I ended up getting, but
19.
it was cool.
19.
19th.
Yeah.
What?
Better than 20th.
Your first year racing Daytona, what year was that?
16.
16. And you were on the Yamaha?
Yeah.
Correct.
Cycle Trader.
Yeah. So it's a funny story. I was at Outback across the street, and I met your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Apologize. I didn't know who you were, honestly. I think I was working for Reedy at the time, but the restaurant was so crowded. Your mom and dad ended up eating dinner with me. So we just all sat at the same big high top table, you know. And so me and your mom and dad got to talking. Super cool people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, my son's racing, you know, and this and that." And so I ended up seeing your dad during the race, during the main, and he's like, "Yeah, it's my son," you know. Dude, you were hauling ass.
Well, thank you.
That week, I was like, wow. And I noticed that, you know, you were a pretty tall guy, but like, I remember like, dude, damn, dude, like he's pretty freaking good on that 250. It was pretty impressive.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then I saw your dad pretty much every weekend after that.
Yeah.
And so now like we actually became buddies, but
He likes to talk to people.
Yeah.
A lot.
yeah. So super cool guy, but that was my first memory of you, and I was like, man, this kid's for real, dude. Like he's getting it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Well, so you go in, you talk about Vegas being the motor, but then you transition into outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
So did you end up running the KTM in outdoor?
Yeah, so at that point, like the plan was to do outdoors, but it was going to be on my own. And so basically we were like, okay, let's skip the first 2 rounds, because I think it was Hangtown, Glen Helen, and then Colorado. So it was like, okay, we'll skip the first 2 rounds and then start at Colorado and go in a van, like whatever, on a Yamaha. And BTO, I guess, like came to my dad in Vegas, and they were like gave him an option. They were like, you give us X amount, which I don't know what it was, but you give us X amount, Benny can ride the 450 all summer.
Yeah.
And like he came to me and asked me what I thought, and I said, no, I don't want you to do that. And then like he kind of opened my eyes up a little bit about it. He's like, I'm going to spend pretty much the same amount to do our own thing, and your bike's not going to be as good, because like the BTO bike was a factory KTM.
Yeah.
They were leasing the motors and everything and suspension, and so it was like, okay. He's like, I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, all right. If you're going to do it, then you're going to do it. I can't stop you. So that's what we did. And season started out a little rough.
Yeah.
The first couple races were, I don't think I scored points at Hangtown.
Yeah, 18-18.
Okay.
Yeah, for your first two, getting going. But then, I mean, the season progressively gets better and better and better.
So
and
then
you get all the way to Unadilla, which Unadilla was huge.
Redbud was my first top 10. And like it was pretty good, but I think maybe I went 11-11 for 10th, so I didn't actually get top 10 in a moto.
Yeah.
But then I want to say the next week was Southwick, and I went maybe 8-6. No, I couldn't have got 6th. I did pretty good. I got 8th or 9th or something. But
7th overall at Southwick.
Okay, so maybe I did go 8-6.
Probably 8-6
I just
for 7th overall.
Like second moto, I caught Porcel, and I was just like, I'm just thinking to myself, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And
well, hell, what, you didn't have enough confidence in yourself?
I mean, no, not at that point.
I mean, that's pretty good at Southwick. You know? That's
so
pretty damn good.
So then
you kind of go on a streak from there.
Then I go on a streak, and then my confidence is through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you go Southwick 7, Spring Creek 8th, Washougal 7th, and then Unadilla. And Unadilla was, at that point, your highest overall outdoor finish, right?
Yeah.
So P4 at Dilla?
P4. The whatever race before that, Washougal, I want to say maybe I got 5th in the first moto. Like, it was a killer day for me. Second moto, I go down in the second corner. And I was like, I get up dead last. And it's like, I finally have like a really good day going, right? And I came back all the way to 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
Which from dead last in the 450 class, I was just like, that's awesome. That's pretty good.
Especially, any of those tracks, but Washougal, that's a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So I remember in that race, so Millville the week before and that race, Stu tried to come back. And like, Stu was my all-time favorite rider. And I remember that second moto Washougal, I passed him. And as I'm passing him, I was just like,
what's going on?
This is the coolest moment of my entire life right now. Like, I passed him, and I like left him. And I was just like, after the race, I'm just like talking with my mechanic, and I was like,
I just passed James Stewart.
I get like, he was not obviously that good that year when he was dealing with his blisters, but I did not care. I was like, I just passed James Stewart, and I beat him, and I'm
going to take it.
I don't understand how that happened, but it did. So then we go to Unadilla. Friday before Unadilla, I'm having dinner with Forrest, sitting in this restaurant, and this kid calls me, a friend of mine calls me. He goes, hey, your guys' truck's on fire.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, no, like, you guys got to get to the track. Like, your truck's on fire. Mm-hmm. And so the truck burnt down.
Really?
Friday.
Yeah.
And so I go to bed Friday night, and my mechanic had left, and I was like, I guess in the morning, wake me up and let me know, like, if we're racing or not. Because, like, at this point, it's like, I'm probably not going to race.
Wow.
So it's like our team, I want to say our team, Husky, KTM, and TLD, like, they all worked, like, all night for us to be able to race. And, like, my gear was in the truck, and so, like, my helmet smelled like bad, like, smoke.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's just bad vibes, right? And I get 7th in the first moto, and it's my first time coming to this track, and I loved it. Like, I absolutely just vibed with it all day, and like, the conditions were nasty, gnarly, deep ruts, and that's like what I liked.
Yeah.
Second moto, I ran second for, I don't know how long. I think it was maybe like half the moto. I was in second, and Kenny's like 45 seconds ahead of me. But like, I didn't care. Like, I'm in second, and I'm like freaking out. And then Eli and Marvin both passed me in the same corner at the bottom of the Screw You section. Mm-hmm. And I was like, 4th is still good. Like, we're still good. And somehow 7-4 got me 4th overall. And they, like, after the race, they, like, pointed me to go to the podium, and I was like, okay. Go to the podium, and, like, they brought me up for an interview, and I remember walking up on the podium, and they, like, everyone's chanting my name. And it was just like the craziest feeling I've ever had in my life.
So at that point though, that's the highest.
Oh yeah.
Overall, Benny Bloss
Yes.
Pro.
Yes.
Supercross, motocross doesn't matter. That's the highest of the high. At
That is the highest of the high, and I was just like, I have to find a way to do better than this.
Yeah.
Like it was just like
You got that itch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like.
Yeah.
I was all about it, and so then there's 2 races after that, and Budds Creek was okay, but then Ironman. It was like kind of muddy, and I don't know what I qualified in the first practice. I was like top 5, but second practice, run a heater, and then it's like there's not time for me to do another lap after this one. So like I come through, and like I hear them say something about my name, and like I knew it was a good lap, and I come to the mechanics area, and it says P1, and I was like I looked back, and I was like, what? And like I come back and I was like, what? Was I actually first? And he goes, yeah. And so I think I qualified 3rd overall that day, but that's the only practice of my life that I ended P1.
Nice.
And like it's just like the highest of highs. So at this point I'm battling with Phil Nicoletti in the championship for 5th. I'm 5th, he's 6th going into this last race. And he's on JGR Yamaha, and his bike smoked the entire first moto. He's in front of me the whole moto, and it smoked the whole time. And I was just like, blow up, blow up, blow up. Come on, blow up, blow up. And he did not blow up, and he beat me. And he beat me for 5th in the championship by 1 point.
Oh, man.
Damn.
So that was 2016 outdoors. You missed a top 5 overall championship finish by 1 point.
By 1 point. Oh. In a year that I wasn't expecting that. My dad had to pay for me to be on the team, and I end up being the best guy on the team, and I get 6th in the championship.
Well, and technically that's 2016 at that point. That's your first full professional year.
Yeah.
I mean, you have only done 1 race in 2015 in Indiana, right?
Yeah, correct.
So then you go into 16, and it's like your first full year, and you're contending for a top 5 overall in the series.
Yeah, which I want to say Budds Creek and Ironman. So in outdoors, they do like first moto sight lap, top 5 gets to go out first. Like they announce you go. And I got to go out first for both of those races. And it was like, it's like an opening ceremonies for the outdoors. And it was just like, man, this is really what I'm doing with my life right now. This is crazy.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool though, to go in your first full year and be able to have that kind of results.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's impressive.
That 1 point was so disappointing though. Like I looked back, and it's like I got a vision impaired migraine on the sight lap of Moto 1 at High Point, and I didn't race the first moto. Or like there was a couple races where something happened. I was just like looking back at this,
if that wouldn't have happened.
If I would have gone out there and gotten 19,
you probably would have been like 40 points ahead of Nicoletti. You never know.
But it was that for me was just crazy. But
So-
even like up until Unadilla, I was searching for something for the next year. Like I didn't have anything. And at Unadilla after the race, Forrest was like, hey, I'm signing you for next year. And it was, so then it's like that race already is like a high for me, right? Like I'm just on top of the world. And then he comes and he's like, hey, you're going to ride for us next year. I'm like, yeah, okay, I am.
Yeah. So then you go in 17.
Mm-hmm.
In that year, you were doing lights or 450?
So we were doing lights. They hadn't done lights for that team, at least not in however long. So on the KTM, it was going to be me ride 250 Supercross and then 450 outdoors. And had a really good off season, like really, really good. And race 1, Minneapolis, heat race goes good. Main event is going good. I think I was passing into like 5th in the main on lap 12. Felt like I was ripping. And crashed in the whoops, dislocated my shoulder.
Out for the season.
Out for the season.
Oh, dang.
And it's like, I know that I would have been top 5 that night, and I feel like I probably could have podiumed at some point during that season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just like another one of those things that I just get to look back at and just
You felt that year, you felt like you were a top 5 guy for the championship.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, that's one of those. It's got to be something that, you know, when you look back on that stuff, you got to be able to have that mental edge to be able to block some of that stuff out.
It's hard. It's hard. Like sometimes, like I'll just think about it. And it's just like, wow, like
Yeah.
it's just like one little mistake.
Yeah.
But
Changes the whole outcome.
yeah.
So then you missed the remainder of the 17 Supercross, but then do you end up doing the 450 outdoor?
So I did. I came back at Millville for outdoors. So I raced like, let's see, there'd be 5 races.
Yeah.
Like did it okay. I didn't do great, but
Yeah.
I signed a deal. So I was hurt for that Supercross season. I went to Utah to watch in 17 to watch Supercross, and I signed a deal with Rocky Mountain to do 450 Supercross and outdoors for 2018.
Yeah.
So it's like, thankfully I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And 18 would have been, I guess, would be the best year that I've had, like as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, you did the entire Supercross season on the 450.
Yeah, I did the whole Supercross season full.
Multiple
full
top
outdoor season.
10s. I mean,
Yeah, the end of Supercross, like beginning of Supercross was a little rough. Like Monday before Thanksgiving, I crashed at the test track, and I want to say I broke 4 ribs, broke my sternum, collapsed my lung, got a concussion, broke both my hips.
nice.
I started riding 3 weeks after that, but I didn't know that the hips were broken.
At this point, were you still training at Robbie's?
Yeah, but I
Like-
was like back and forth between Oklahoma and California.
Yeah. But so your stint at Robbie's actually lasted quite a while.
Yeah, so I trained there from 2013 until 2021.
Wow.
I trained with them in 2021
Yeah.
till the end of Supercross.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even going through that 18 year, though, I mean, the season progressed. You get better and better and better. You know.
Yeah, Supercross ended really good.
Yeah.
Like,
You
I
had a
got
couple
6th
eight, and then a 6 at Vegas.
Yeah, 6th at Vegas, and it was like, then I'm going in outdoors, and it's like, I feel like I'm a good Supercross rider, but outdoors is like, it's time to go. Like,
Yeah.
that's my stuff. So
Yeah.
I won 450 Rookie of the Year in Supercross that year, which was cool because in 16 I won Outdoors Rookie of the Year. But then Hangtown, I think I went 10-5, crashed in the first corner in the first moto.
Yeah. For a 7 overall.
And then Glen Helen, first moto crashed really hard. Second moto, maybe I crashed second moto. I think I got 6th in one moto. Then I got 5th at Colorado.
Yep.
And it's just like things are really going good.
Yeah.
And then we get to Redbud. And I remember, so I made a deal with a buddy of mine who was my boot guy at the time. The night before Redbud, we made a deal. If I podium ever, he has to do a shoey out of my boot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, fine, that's fine. You're not going to get it.
Yeah, why not? Oh, well, that's your buddy?
Really good friend of mine, actually. And so we make the deal, right?
You're never going to get it,
He's
bud.
confident. Like, he's confident. He's like, yeah, sure. Podium? Yeah. And, like, all we said was, if you podium, you got to do a shoey.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with it. It was perfect. And next day, Redbud, I missed almost half the first practice because my bike was messed up. And so, like, the vibes are already low for the day.
Yeah.
And then first moto, I start maybe, like, 10th. And Kenny was in front of me, and I was just, like, trying to, like, follow and do what he did.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm in 3rd.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. And so we're going. And then Marv passes me. And I was like, you know what? 4th is still good. Ties my career best in a moto.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, a lap and a half to go, I come around a corner, and I see Eli on the side of the track pushing his bike. And, like, I looked back, and I was like, that was first place right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come by, says last lap, P3. Barsha and Baggett are coming, and they're coming fast. And I was just like, I looked back, and I was like, just hang on, just one lap.
Yeah.
And I almost crashed on the last lap before the leap. Hand came off the bars, and I ended up 3rd, and I was just like, what just happened?
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Shoey.
your buddies over there, like, is this an overall bet?
No, it
Or
was
just on the
moto.
podium?
Okay, so we said if you podium at any point this
Oh,
season,
so yeah, he's
right?
screwed.
So he's just sweating
Yeah.
bullets at this moment. And it was just like everything was going good. Moto 2, first lap, coming down the hill before the leap, and just wad. I mean, I crashed so hard. And then I don't even know. I don't think I scored points in that moto. I got 11th overall.
Yeah.
Never did the shoey because he said it had to be overall.
Overall.
And I'm like, bro, we never said. And he goes, well, it's got to be overall. Oh, I was so mad.
I'm still. He still owes you.
He owes me for sure. He actually, we still have that bet to this day. So.
Yeah.
Well, we might
Maybe
have
one
to
of
get
these
on
days.
that. We're going to talk about our Nashville bets later on, but we might have to get into that. So you end up, let's keep going through that outdoor season. I mean, still more top tens come
Yeah.
after that. Still a pretty good season overall.
Yeah, I finished the season good. It was pretty good. I wasn't great, but like
Yeah,
I
but,
still
I mean,
had
there's-
some good. I had some good finishes.
Three
but-
rounds after that, you get a P6 at Dilla again. There's something about you and Dilla.
Yeah, that's my favorite track.
Clearly.
Oh, that was so 18. It rained. It was muddy. My guy Phil, right? Phil and I battle a lot outdoors. First moto, super muddy. I passed Phil for third, right before the mechanics area. And at this point, I have no tear offs left. I can't see anything out of my goggles. I go to pull my goggles and like mess up. And as I pulled him, Phil went back by me for third. So I got fourth in the first moto, and I crashed in the second moto.
But still came back
Yeah.
enough to get a P6 in
Yeah.
that year. I mean, Dilla's been pretty good to you there.
Dilla has been pretty good to me.
So you go through that was 18. You go through 18 outdoors, and then what happens in 19? You don't do any Supercrosses in 19.
So I re-signed again with Rocky Mountain
Okay.
for 19. And it was like off season was going killer, like really, really good. And by far the best Supercross riding I'd ever done. And Christmas Eve, Robbie made me ride in California at Elsinore. He's like, I don't care. Like, it was like a Wednesday or something. He's like, you're riding. And my wife was pissed about it. She's like, you should not be riding. And in my warm-up, hit a triple into a left-handed 90 into a rhythm section, hit the triple, land with my foot out. Right as I start to turn, hit a slick spot, crash, tear my ACL. ACL, MCL, and meniscus.
Fold that
Nice.
thing out. That slippery stuff.
So missed all of Supercross, and I came back. I wanted to come back at the beginning of outdoors, but nobody would let me. And so I came back at High Point.
Yeah, High Point June.
I did okay, not great, but I had a couple good results. Dilla, I rode good again.
Well, I want to ask about this one because for us being, Florida based and here in Central Florida, so you come
gonna
back
ask
to
about WW.
you come back to your very first race in June, which was High Point, right?
Yeah.
So the very following weekend is the Florida National, which was at WW up in Jacksonville.
The hot one.
Was that not one of the hottest races you've ever done in your life?
Oh, dude. So I raced WW USGP in 17, and
Yeah.
it was miserable.
Yeah.
It was absolutely miserable.
Yep.
And then, so we race High Point. I come down, ride at Blake's, stay at Burners, ride at Blake's all week, getting ready for Florida National. Like, it's going to be hot. And I was like, yeah, it'll be good.
No problem.
Oh, my goodness. Man, was I wrong. I rode so bad in the first moto. I came back and, like, got 13th maybe, but I remember I pulled my helmet off as I was crossing the finish line.
Yeah.
Like, you go over the big hill before, like the scrub hill or whatever, and I'm like trying to undo my buckle on my helmet and then roll over the finish line, take my helmet off. Like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Bogle is dying. We're sitting in our pools, and he's like just sitting there like this. And Baggett's dad's like trying to talk to him, and he's just, nobody's there. And I was like, I don't think you should race. But
Yeah.
he raced, did good.
Well, I was
blew
curious.
my clutch out in the second moto, so I didn't.
I was
finish.
curious about that one.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, I
I was like, and I hated that track too. absolutely hated that track.
Yeah, I mean, hot day, second race back, not the best result overall. I mean, 16th for the day.
Yeah.
But then, you click off a couple more rounds, get back on the bike again, and then boom, here comes Unadilla.
Here comes Unadilla.
And we go back in another top 10 again.
It was like, track was nasty, like 16, and it's like, that's my favorite condition ever.
This is like a reoccurring theme here.
My favorite track in the world is Unadilla when it is got nasty deep ruts all around it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you excel.
Fun fact about that, Joey Savacci jumped in front of me on the finish line on the checkered flag and like kind of like cross jumped me a little bit, and I clipped his wheel in the air on the finish line. Now we're past the checkered flag, right? And I crashed really hard after the race is over.
Yeah. I remember that.
I
remember that.
Nasty.
You guys
crash.
clipped each other off the finish.
He didn't crash, but I was just.
I do remember that.
Flipping.
We didn't talk to Joey about that when he was on the episode. we should have brought that up.
He was more concerned about that Supercross deal with Osborne, but
dude, I was so mad. I was so mad after that, but.
So you finish out the 19 year, end up the year, multiple top 10s in a row. I mean, you go 8 at Dilla, 9 at Budds Creek, 8 at Ironman. So, I mean, you kind of end the season there on a high.
Yeah, I qualified second at Ironman that year, too.
Oh, there you go. It
was like, I remember Kenny, this was the thing that pissed me off, was Kenny came out, did one roll lap, did a fast lap, and went back to the pit. And it was like a second faster than my fastest time, which was second. I'm just like, this guy does one lap. And goes a second faster. But like it was good. And then I got married right after that. Like,
after the end of the 19 season?
Yeah, I got married in September of that year. And
September what?
September 22nd.
Okay.
Can't be getting me in trouble.
I was just making sure.
Jeez, no pressure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my birthday's September 20th, so you're close enough. That's good.
Yeah, we got married in Cancun, and then flew back from Cancun, and then at that point, Forrest, like on my way home, Forrest let me know that they were going to sign Bogle for the next year, and so I was out. But they had me race Monster Cup for them, and I think I got 7th maybe at Monster Cup. It's pretty good. And then rode for Rock River the next year, and started the season horrible. It was not good, but.
So did you? But you didn't start at A1, right?
So
that would have been 2020. You started the series in St. Louis?
I went to A1 and I crashed.
Okay.
In the heat race, crashed in the LCQ, didn't make the main. Then we go, St. Louis was the second race that year.
Okay.
So I rode okay at St. Louis, 17th maybe?
Yeah, 17th overall, yeah.
And then I missed a good bit of the races.
Yeah.
After that, maybe missed 4 races after that, but.
How'd you do at Unadilla that year?
Well, this is 2020
was a weird schedule.
Yeah, because that was the weird thing. That was the COVID time. So that was the residency in Salt Lake, right?
Yes. So 2020, I'm riding for Rock River.
Yeah.
And Bogle gets hurt at Glendale. And Forrest had reached out to me. He was like, hey, would you at all be interested in riding for us for the rest of the year? And I was like, I mean, it's a conversation I'm willing to have for sure.
Right.
And we talk about it, and then I raced Atlanta for Rock River still, and I called Mike DeClose from Rock River after Atlanta, and I told him, I'm like, hey, I'm going to take this opportunity. I feel like it's something that I need to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and raced Daytona the next weekend.
Yeah, on a KTM.
On a KTM.
Yeah.
I think I got 12th.
Yep.
Which was my best of the year so far. And then stayed after, rode at Blake's, tested with Burner and them, stayed at Burner's. And me, my wife, and Burner were on our way to the airport to fly to Indy. And Burner gets a call, and they're like, hey, race is canceled.
Yeah.
Not sure when we're racing again.
Yeah.
So he just took us to the airport. We flew home to Oklahoma. I remember so my dad and I, when we figured out it was going to be a while until we raced, my dad and I flew to Colorado to ride snowmobiles, just have fun. There were 7 people on my Southwest flight from Oklahoma City to Denver.
Wow.
And I'm like, I can't believe you even
Yeah. How do you even fly with?
Why would you make this flight?
Yeah.
There's 7 people here, but
Yeah.
which was a blast. So then it's like, at this point, it's like I took this fill-in ride. I leave the team I'm on
Yeah.
for one race because, like, who knows? Like, are we going to race? And then we go to Salt Lake, and it was like,
Almost 2 months later.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Salt Lake was, like, such a good time for me. I had a lot of good riding, and,
Yeah.
like,
So
the results, I think I got 13th a bunch.
you go March 7th at Daytona,
Yep.
and then everything shuts down.
Yep.
Everybody's trying to figure out what are we going to do through March, April, and then May, what was it, 31st? You go back to racing in Salt Lake. So, I mean, all of March, all of April, and all of May, and then you go back. So 3 months off the bike, and you've only ridden this bike at one race this year.
No. So here's the thing. A lot of people didn't ride, right? We did. Robbie in Oklahoma was like, you guys, it's boot camp time.
Yeah.
Like, we're having outdoor boot camp because, like,
Yeah.
at this point, outdoors is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So I rode that entire time,
Yeah.
4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Faulkner and I were just nonstop grinding every single day.
Hey, it's
And-
smart if you know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, we're only riding outdoors at this point, and then get a call and it's like, oh, hey, we're racing Supercross in 2 weeks. It's like, all right, so we switched to Supercross.
And wasn't that the 2 a day or the two a week?
Yeah, 2 a week.
the
So like,
races were-
I bought a house right before that. I moved in, and 2 days later flew to Salt Lake.
Yeah. And then you start doing 2 a week races.
Yeah, so I think we were racing Sundays and Wednesdays, or Sundays and Tuesdays.
Yeah. So did you stay in Salt Lake the whole time,
Yeah.
or did you go home after Tuesday?
No,
I don't even think you were allowed to leave.
you weren't allowed to. It was like a 50-mile or 100-mile radius or something that they
Yeah.
said you couldn't leave.
Yeah.
So, the
But you're right,
team-
though. I mean, so you talked about a lot of 13. So you go 13,
Yeah.
13, 13. Then you have a 10th,
Mm-hmm.
13, 11, 14. So that's your Salt Lake residency.
Yes. So a lot of 13s, but the riding that I had, like, I made a lot of dumb mistakes, but the riding that I had was like really good. Salt Lake 5.
Yeah. Salt Lake.
I guess really it was like Salt Lake 3. I start getting where like I'm starting to figure qualifying out pretty good, where it's like I'm starting to be in the top 10 in qualifying. And then Salt Lake 5 comes around, and it's like first free practice was pretty good, and then first time practice I was like 4th, and it's like, okay, like I'm feeling the track, everything's going good. Qualifying 2, I remember there was like something messed up on up on the big screen, and there's like a big black square, so you can't see the names, but you can see the bike brand and the time. And there was a KTM at the top, and I was like, that's got to be me. But there was another KTM like 5th or 6th or something, and I was like, I feel like my time was good. And then boom, Kawasaki goes to the top like last lap, and it was me. I did have fastest time, and then Eli bumped me like last lap of practice. But I'm already feeling good. And then heat race comes around, and I started like 3rd, and I passed Reed, and Marty is winning, and he puts a little gap, and then he crashes before the whoops. So then I'm in the lead, like 3 laps to go.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, I will kill someone before I don't, like, I'm winning this race no matter what. Either I'm winning or I'm dying because I crashed so hard.
Yeah.
Dino and I battled on the last lap, and I cross-jumped him so bad in the rhythm section, for sure on purpose.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I don't care. When am I going to get another chance like this?
Yeah.
And I won the heat race, and then main events coming around, feeling good. I was like 6th maybe, and just T-bone from Freezy. Just didn't even attempt to hit the brakes or turn. And that was it.
I was
I was so mad.
We're in the presence of a freezy victim here.
more than one time.
Yeah, I bet.
But dude, Forrest was so mad. He's like, "You have to go fight him." I was like, "Dude, I'm not." He texted me like right after too, and I was like, "Okay, like you're gonna text me and apologize." I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I was so mad because it's like the day of my life is just.
Yeah.
But
Insane.
So you finish up the Salt Lake, and then that's a a modified schedule for outdoors again. That's when the Loretta's.
Yeah, we did the. It was
Loretta's
supposed to be
1 and 2.
It was supposed to be Loretta's Washougal, but then Washougal got canceled.
Yeah.
So we did Loretta's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm still on the Rocky Mountain Bike in Salt Lake, and I was told like you're good for outdoors. You can ride for us for outdoors. And then Bogle ends up getting back on the bike, and he decided he wanted to race. So I think it was like 3 weeks before the first race, they called me and they were like, "Hey, you gotta be off that bike this weekend." And I was like, "Okay." Bought some Huskies, and so I refer to that summer as Suicide Summer 2020. Loretta's won. I think I got 9th in the first moto, maybe 10th, but like goes good. Second moto, I was running 6th. Bike blew up. Loretta's 2 was muddy. Blew up bike first moto. Broke something second moto. So at this point, I'm top 10, and then DNF. Ironman next weekend, crashed, and I pulled in the mechanics area because I lost a lot of coolant. And I pulled in to ask my mechanic, like, do I keep riding or do I not? And at the time, someone came up. They were like, "Hey, your oil sight glass is broken." And I was like, "What?" Looked down, the sight glass broke, and all the oil fell out when I crashed.
Wow.
So DNF that moto.
Wow.
13th, second moto. I think maybe Millville was next, and I finally finished both motos.
Redbud.
Redbud was next?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it went Loretta's, Ironman, Redbud.
Okay. So Redbud, first moto, my fork broke. And like first lap, like I felt it break. I thought it was my bar mounts broke loose. And so like I hit the leap every lap. Come off the track, I told my mechanic, I said either my bar mounts are really loose or my fork's broken. Comes off, takes the wheel off, and the bottom of my fork fell out. I was like, okay.
Wow.
We survived that, crashed the second moto, DNF. Didn't race the next Redbud because I had a hurt ankle. Finished both motos at Millville.
Yep. 12 overall. Then you go back to Florida.
Yep, back to Florida. Concussion in the first, or not really concussion, but
hit the noggin.
Hit my noggin a little bit where I was like, probably shouldn't race second moto.
Yeah.
So DNF, and then go to Colorado.
Yeah, Thunder Valley is good.
That's another track that's like, I love it.
Yeah.
Love everything about that place. Get, I think 7th, maybe?
8th overall.
8th overall.
Yeah.
7th in the second moto. And at that point, pulled off the track, and I told my family and my people, I was like, I'm not going to Paula. Don't want to go there. Don't like it. End on a high note.
Yeah. So then,
excuse me.
So 2020, you pretty much do the Husky thing kind of on your own,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, the whole thing. Bogle comes back. You know, you leave the Rocky Mountain deal, and then you do the Huskies for outdoor.
Yep.
But then 21, what did you go to, or what team did you go to in 21? Was that a Honda?
Yeah, so I went to Moto Concepts.
Oh, okay.
21. And that season was different too because that was another, like Houston, we did Saturday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Indy, same thing.
Yeah.
Was that the first time you've been on a Honda since your XR?
I rode one for like 3 months
Oh,
in 2013.
so I say it's a long gap.
It is a long gap.
Yeah, so you go Houston, Indy, Orlando twice, then Daytona, Arlington.
You'll notice in the results there's not very many good ones.
Yeah. Well, still putting her in the main event,
Last race, Salt Lake, was my best finish of the year. Or
No.
it tied it. Didn't it?
No.
Tied it.
No, Salt Lake was a 20th. Foxborough, 12th.
No. You're 2022.
Oh, yeah, I am at 22. I am.
2021.
Yeah, the 21
13th.
Salt Lake, 13th, yeah.
So,
Which was a tie with your Indy round.
yeah, so Tony came to me before the night show, and they were like, "Hey, what about if you try to time the gate?" And I was like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah, all right.
And they're like, "No, you're gonna do it." And I
This
was
is
like,
how Mike got all those hole shots.
they're like,
He
why,
timed the gate.
like, why don't you just try it? And so I tried it, and I smoked the gate.
Oh, you hit it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Not trying that again.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even close. And then it was like that, like freed up my mind, and it was just like then I rode good.
But it works for Mike.
I felt bad because Freddie Norrin was next to me on the gate, and he smoked the gate too.
Wow. So you jumped, and so he jumped.
So you only did Supercross that year?
Yeah.
No.
So
because I mean, were at that time, weren't they Supercross only team?
Yeah, they were. And my deal was Supercross only. At Dallas that year, Dallas 2, in practice I hit neutral and I had a pretty nasty crash, and I tore pretty much everything in my right ankle and a good bit of stuff in my left ankle, and then like tried to ride the rest of the season, just trying to get through it. And I was like, I'm not going to race the summer. Just like last summer was horrible. It's just, I'm going to relax. I have some fun. And at that point, I really didn't know if I was going to keep racing because I didn't think I would get a ride.
Well, that ends up wrapping up the 21 year, and no outdoors 21. So then 22, which I mean, obviously now we're at 22. We're talking last season.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in 23 right now, so we're talking last season. You go back to a KTM?
Yeah. So I had lived in Oklahoma all those years, right, and had gone back and forth between Oklahoma and California. So I sold my house in Oklahoma after 21 Supercross. Moved back home to Missouri. My parents moved out of their house into their new one. I moved into the old one, and wasn't sure I was going to keep riding. I built a track in the back where I used to have one, and was having fun riding. And it was like, I was like at the end of Supercross, I was pretty over it. Like it was just like, this is
at the end of 21.
Yeah, like I
so
wasn't.
You were kind of at a point at that time of your life to where like you were just kind of like, what's next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then riding that summer, like I got back, like I got the love again. Like all I wanted to do was ride and race. Really was race. So I signed with Tedder for 22, and at this point I'm living at home, so I'm not training in Oklahoma. I'm not doing any of that. So I decided to train with Davey Millsaps, moved to California, and I started the off season, I was horrible. I was out of shape, just terrible. And got to a point that like I'm not where I was then. Like right now.
You're noticing a difference.
Yeah, last year before the season, it was a level that I had not seen before, and it was just everything was going good. Boom, Tuesday before Christmas, there was a section at Paulo, it was like a 353 into a Supercross triple, and I wheel tap it. I'd rode there 2 times a week for 2 months and hit that section 1,000 times. Something messed up. I messed up when I came out of the corner, and I don't know how I did it, but I endoed hard
Benny,
into the triple face.
You know, I'm not a Dr. Phil, Benny, but I think we probably need to stop riding the week of Christmas.
We did that this year. Wasn't going to do it again. So endoed into the face of the triple, and I was just like, I'm laying there, and like my leg is broken. Like it has to be. Something's wrong.
Man.
They asked me too, like that's the only track that has medics like on hand.
Yeah.
And they come over there like, do you need an ambulance? And I said, I'm not paying for that. Absolutely not. Get my truck out here. They pull my truck out and start to move me to get me into the truck. And I said, call an ambulance right now. Like I need an ambulance bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Called the ambulance, took me there. I remember I don't remember what they gave me for pain, the ambulance people, when I was on the track, but it like didn't take the pain away, it just made me extremely emotional. And so like I FaceTimed 14 people in the ambulance to I don't know why they gave me my phone. Like that's like a day my wife decided not to go to the track too. So like I drive myself to the track. Yeah. My mechanic went home for Christmas. So it's just me and Dakota Tedder there. And so he drives my truck to the hospital, and I'm in the ambulance calling all these people, telling them how much I love them. And I'm just like, I'm dying.
For sure, morphine.
See, I'm allergic to morphine. I don't know.
Oh, really?
They gave it, whatever they gave me, they gave it through my nose.
Oh, really?
It was weird.
They gave my son morphine on the side of the track at Glen Helen. And like this stuff he started doing was crazy. So I thought maybe it was morphine, but
So
Wow.
yeah, so that happens. Turns out like I shattered my ankle and then broke my back in 2 spots and broke my collarbone.
Yeah, Benny, I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb and say probably not a good idea to ride the week of Christmas anymore.
Yeah, so
I think your wife and kid would probably appreciate
she was so mad. She's like, no more holidays, no Thanksgiving, no Christmas, because like at this point I crashed Thanksgiving, I crashed Christmas, like
Yeah.
now it's Christmas twice, like,
yeah.
and it was so bad. So I ended up having 3 surgeries, 2 on my ankle and 1 on my collarbone, and came back for the last, supposed to be 5 races, but I got COVID, so I didn't race Denver.
Yeah, so you only did 4.
Yeah, and Salt Lake was going really good. I'd gotten to the 8th maybe, 9th or 8th, and took a right turn in the whoops, hit an edge. First thing that hit the ground was my face, and no dirt was involved, only concrete.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, hit the wall like along the.
Yeah.
Wasn't good.
We need to race 2022 for Benny.
Well, I mean, outdoors wasn't bad. I mean, multiple top 10s in outdoors.
Yeah, so that was
The only bad race of that year was Dilla. I mean, what happened?
so I was on a Supercross only deal with Tedder. Did the BBMX thing for outdoors.
Yeah.
Paula was not good. Like Paula wasn't good. Hangtown wasn't good. Like they were okay, but not good.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Colorado,
Not good.
I qualified like 7th, and then like I think I partially tore my MCL in the first corner of the first moto, so I
Yeah.
didn't race. And then High Point was pretty good.
Yeah, Redbud was okay.
Redbud was 11th,
12th. Yep.
12th.
But then you go Southwick.
Then Southwick was really good. Millville was really good.
Yeah.
Washougal was really good.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we go to Unadilla, which is like the Benny Bloss favorite.
Yep, broke my bike.
Not good.
Broke bike both motos.
P40.
Yep.
But still,
See, that wasn't Benny. That was the bike.
yeah.
But Bud's Creek, I was really sick. I think I did okay in the first moto, and I didn't race the second moto.
Yeah.
I tried to, and had some unfortunate events.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
Iron Man, not great, but
Ironman
okay.
was not great. Paula, honestly,
Paula was good, though.
there was some stuff that had gone led up to Ironman that was not good behind the scenes, and like I left Ironman, took everything from the truck. I was like, I'm not going to Paula. I didn't tell anyone that. I was just like, I'm done. Like, took everything that I had in the truck because I drove to that race, and so I took it all home. And I told myself, I told my family, I said, I'm not going to Paula. Like, this has been terrible.
Yeah.
Done. And like Tuesday before Paula, I called Davey and I was like, hey, I think I want to race Paula. And he's like, no. Why? He's like, you're just going to do bad, and you're going to make yourself look bad. It's going to piss me off. It's going to piss your dad off.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to race for me. I'm not going to race for you. I'm not going to race for anyone other than myself.
Yeah. Prove a point.
So I'm going to go there. I'm going to keep my headphones in all day. I'm going to listen to music all day. And I'm going to race. And it's going to be hot. They cut the motos to 25
Yep.
instead of 30.
Yep.
And I
remember
went,
that.
and I got 7th. Or 8th.
7th.
7th.
Yeah.
So
I think it was the best finish of the year, right?
it was, yeah.
Yeah. So you end the season on a high note there.
Yeah.
So that gets us through up until 2023, which we're going to get into 2023. But I want to take just a second, pause, and say a huge thank you to our good friends at Oakley. If you can see them on the table, we've got the Sutro glasses. That's what, I wear multiple different variations of those throughout the week. I really enjoy them. When we go racing, I know Shane and our FTRs and stuff like that, we've been wearing the Oakley air brakes. Benny, you are running the Oakley air brakes right now.
Oakley air brakes. I also run the Sutros.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah, and which I love them. And like I said, I got head to toe right now as far as Oakley shoes, Oakley shorts, Oakley shirts. So
Like
I can't.
a billboard over here.
It's comfortable, man. Like I love wearing it. Super comfortable, and I can't say thank you enough to everybody out at Oakley. I mean, the hospitality when we went out there earlier this year out to California. I mean, it's an amazing company. The facility is amazing, and the staff. I mean, all the people that are around us and support us, and big thank you to Oakley. I mean, they're a big part of the Future MX team. We've got Carson Wood representing Oakley, and Drew Adams is running them too. And then they help us on the Supercross side. This whole season for us in the Supercross season between Aiden and Cole, they've been representing Oakley as well. So big thank you to them and anybody that's out there looking for some eyewear as far as, sunglasses or goggles out there in the trails on the weekend, at the dirt track on your local Saturday nights, or even at the professional level, man. Oakley Goggles, they've been a great company to be with and to be representing, and I love the brand, and as you can tell, I try to represent them the best that I can. So a huge thank you to them. What I want to get into now, Benny, 2023. So you end up wrapping up 2022 with the P7 to end the season on the BBMX KTM. What did you have coming into this season? What was your plans like in the off season? And also, what was your expectations for this year in 2023?
So we had made the decision at one point, like I was going to race Yamahas, my own privateer thing, and then ended up doing a deal with Rock River. So the plan was to race the 23 Yamaha 450 for the year, and I got my 23s Tuesday before Anaheim won.
Okay.
So I had bought a 22 450, and I rode that the whole off season, which is a good bike. But the 23 was like first day on it, I was like, okay, this is good. This is definitely better.
Yeah.
So ended up coming down to Florida, training at the dog pound, and love it. Absolutely love it. Just get ran into the ground every day by Hunter and Jet. Probably what I need, but it's hard on the confidence.
Yeah.
Definitely hard on the confidence. But so the expectations, honestly, my off season was horrible. So like I didn't really have many expectations.
When did you end up moving to Florida and coming to the compound?
Like the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So pretty much I rode all of December, but like I had multiple bike issues. I just didn't have a lot of parts and stuff. And
I mean, do you feel like that's a little bit behind the 8 ball as far as some of the other guys in 450?
100%.
Yeah.
So I rode Supercross back home for like the whole month of November, pretty much.
Yeah.
Usually, like I'd like to start at least riding Supercross a little bit in October,
right,
and then get a full 2 months, November and December. But we were behind on it and super unprepared going into Anaheim, and I ended up looping out in the whoops in the heat race and bruising my tailbone.
Nice.
Which, for anyone that's done that, it is horrible.
Yeah.
It is brutal.
Not only for riding, but for sitting down in general.
Yeah. So that happened Saturday, and Monday I flew back LAX to Tampa, 6-hour flight.
Nonstop?
Horrible.
Oh.
It was horrible. But we made it, and the beginning of the season was tough, not very good, but we've kind of been coming around and
yeah, I would say so.
Had some good qualifiers, just trying to get the main events better.
Out of all the places to train in Florida, what made you decide to train with those yahoos out there?
So originally I was going to come down here and train with Sexton he was going to get a place somewhere. And then like a week before I was going to leave, they were like, oh, hey, that fell through.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So then like I'm kind of like lost, right?
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what to do after that. So I hit up Barsha. I texted Barsha because I had seen that he had some spots open at his place. And he took like 2 hours to text back. And in that time, I'm like trying to figure out where I need to go.
Yeah.
So I called Dan Truman and I was like, you guys still have a spot? And he's like, yep, you're good. So agreed to it. 5 minutes after I agreed to it, Barsha texted me back. He's like, yeah, love to have you come down. And I was like, well,
already locked it in.
Just made a decision. So
yeah.
I didn't realize Barsha had people at his place.
Yeah.
I thought it was just him all the time.
No, I think he has people. I don't really know. You don't ever see anything about it.
No,
so.
never.
Yeah.
But like I didn't know anyone. Like I knew Burner really well, obviously, but
yeah. Which
like
you had spent some time with Burner before.
Yeah.
And you knew Burner was, down at the dog pound. So.
Yeah. I didn't know Hunter or Jet like at all.
Yeah.
Like if we had seen each other in Chipotle, we're not saying anything to each other.
Right.
They
But it probably made you knew
was.
Burner was here, and it probably makes it easier, a little bit easier transition of at least knowing somebody.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And you know Dan, obviously. I mean, everybody knows that Dan guy.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
So you get going through the season though, and I know you talked about, bruising the tailbone and that, but as the season keeps going, it's almost like some of these previous seasons that the further the season goes on, the better and better Benny gets.
Yeah, it's frustrating though. Like I feel like I need to be able to get where I can start there, right? But like this year, I came in extremely unprepared, so that's kind of a good excuse for that, I guess. But
well, I mean, do you feel like is it more of like racing yourself into shape, or
definitely.
is it racing your bike settings into where they need to be?
Maybe a little bit of both. Honestly, my bike setup has been pretty good. I haven't messed with my suspension much. I'm running Enzo, and those guys are really, really good at what they do. Yeah. My bike does not have much done to it. I have a Get ECU, thanks to Dan. And then I've got an HGS pipe, and like as far as performance stuff goes, I don't have anything done on my motor. So
yeah, I mean that's stock Yamaha though. I mean
that stock Yamaha is good.
What do you?
It's I think for outdoors, I think we're gonna get some motor stuff done to it, but
yeah,
like it's definitely we've gotten better.
So let's come up through the season right now. I know you know we talked about the tailbone thing, but let's look at this last race right here. New Jersey, absolute mutter.
Yep.
Benny Bloss comes around. What is it? Second or third turn in P4.
Yep. So, funny thing, like all day I was just like, come on, let's rain, please. I want an all-out mutter, because we had kind of been teased a couple races before where it's like it's gonna rain and then it doesn't.
Yeah, there certainly hasn't been one in a while.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought wasn't Atlanta they were expecting it to be a mutter?
Yeah, Atlanta was supposed to be like a complete mutter, and it didn't.
Right.
Like it was good.
Yeah.
Tampa rained a little bit, but wasn't a mutter.
Right.
So like I want a mutter bad, and then it's dry, and I have a really good heat race. I end up 5th, and it's like, but like I was riding good, and I got a good start, and I was like, okay, maybe I want it to be dry.
Yeah.
But like we're looking at the radar, and it's like it is not going to be dry.
Yeah.
So I have never been at a race where they've postponed it like that.
Yeah.
So like,
nobody's ever seen that.
I think didn't they talk about it on the broadcast though? That was the first time that they've.
Here's my deal, man, because like obviously I've been in motocross for a lot of years, and I'm like, if these guys ain't gonna race tonight, I'm getting really disappointed in the sport. Yeah. Because obviously, it's never stopped dirt bikes from racing.
Right.
Yes, I get the lightning, but I was like, so I went to bed. I got pissed, threw the remote, and then literally woke up the next morning. I'm like, oh, dude, these freaking fools raced.
Well, I got
obviously way past my bedtime.
Yeah.
But
I was at an event, and I come in and I turn it on, and I'm watching Atlanta. And I'm like, this is not the race that I turned on. And then I see in the bottom right-hand corner a weather delay. Yeah. And I was like,
it's going to suck for you guys, too, because that's a long-ass day.
Yeah, well, like, I had already warmed up. Like, I was getting ready to go up.
Yeah.
And, like, we're starting to watch, and, like, we're getting ready. And it's like, then I go outside, and I come back in. They're like, they just pulled the bikes off the line. And I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, they said delay. Because I had seen the lightning, but I'm like, I've never seen them pull bikes off the line like that.
Yeah.
And so then it gets where it's just like, then we're just like really hanging out there, and it's like, are we going to race?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to race at midnight.
Yeah, they can't keep you there all day or all night, and then.
Yeah, like I got a flight.
I mean,
in the morning.
there had to be.
By the way, we're racing at 1 o'clock, midnight, or whatever.
Yeah.
There had to be a question at some point, like, are we just going to postpone this thing or what?
Well, like we're sitting in the truck, and like Grant Harlan and I are like, we're just like checking Twitter, like, does anyone know anything? Yeah. And at one point, I like when it's like, okay, it seems like they're gonna go racing, I FaceTimed Aaron Kane from Oakley.
Yep.
And he was in Barsh's motorhome, and Barsh was just sitting there with a big smile on his face. And I'm like, I know you're the happiest dude in here right now.
Yeah.
Because like I was like, he's gonna win. Like he's so good in the mud.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he wins. But I got out of the gate. And I was like, I had the roll-offs on, right? So I can't really see that well to the sides. And there's no front fenders near me. And I was just like, I might hole shot. What is going on?
Yeah.
And then, like, people come around, but, like, come through the mechanics area in 4th. And I was like, okay, like, this is a start, finally. But.
Was it cold?
Not really.
No?
No.
Yeah, but I mean, you get out there, and I'm sitting there inside when they did go back to racing, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, oh man, oh Benny's up there. Like I'm starting to scream at the TV, and you made a post earlier on Instagram, Bloss44 for anybody that needs his Instagram handle, Bloss44. Made a post earlier this week. Did you stop and pit?
Yeah, so
because you were P4 and then
the
went
first
to what?
lap.
P6.
So on the first lap we come around and there was like the double before the mechanics area.
Yep.
I don't know who hit me with it. I think it was either Barsha or Roxon, but they landed the double and just face full of mud. Well, there's a lot of rocks in that dirt, and a rock broke my goggles.
Yeah.
Like of all the situations, so my roll-offs weren't working, and I did probably 2 laps like that, and in fourth, and like I'm still hitting the jumps and stuff, and then I pulled the goggles because like I can't see anymore, which it's pouring rain too, so like I'm already like this trying to hit the stuff.
Yeah.
And I let Sexton and
yeah, you rolled a finish, and
yeah, Sexton and Coop came up behind me and they were like battling, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'll let them by, like at least because then I'm not in a battle where I'm getting roosted, right? And like I need my eyes, obviously.
Yeah.
So I did 3 laps with no goggles, and I had a pretty good gap on 7th, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull in for goggles.
Make
so
this
the lap
as quick as
before that,
possible.
like I'm pointing, and my mechanic holds up a pair of goggles, and I'm like, yes, like perfect signal, whatever, and pulled in, got goggles. Turns out it took a lot longer than we did it really quick and smooth, but I went back to 14th. So
Damn.
but still, even that's what I want.
That much time just for the goggles.
yeah, so I pulled in, got goggles. He put them on my head, and then got back out to 14th. And like the pit board doesn't work because it's pouring down rain.
Yeah.
So he's like giving me hand signals, like what position I'm in. And I just like, I think maybe I pulled on in 15th, but I passed someone like right away. And then it's just like, I'm making things click. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
The only people that passed me were like the top 3 when they lapped me. And then you come through and it's like you're in 11th, pass somebody else. And I think somebody crashed, and then I was 9th, and then it's 8th, and then it's like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, you end up coming out with a great start,
yeah,
pulling into the pit, coming out of the pit in 15th, picking people off, and you end up P8.
yeah,
Is that the best finish of the year? Is P8?
yeah. First top 10 of the year,
Really?
which, yeah, pretty exciting. I had a deal with my mom for some shoes. I'm a big shoe guy, so
Yeah.
first top 10, you get a pair of shoes, and got my shoes.
Got my shoe.
Pretty excited.
Hey, that damn Barsha almost lapped the whole damn field.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was ripping. He was absolutely sending it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I tell you, man, trust me, I'm a huge Barsha fan. Back when I had the iMoto stuff back in the day, I interviewed him multiple times and filmed him quite a bit, and I love Barsha. But man, towards the end of that race, there was multiple times where I was like, "Whoa!" Where I thought I thought he was going to give it away. Like the last 3 laps, I just thought, which I know the conditions were bad, and I couldn't even imagine. I mean, you got the ride at Benny.
It was a blast.
And that's kind of how I would assume, like when you get off after a race like that. Like I know, Jet and Hunter, when they were on the podium, they were talking about like sliding through it and doing, water slides. And, you kind of embrace the moment because it's very rare. I mean, you talked about wanting a mud race.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't had one all year.
Yeah.
I mean, could have.
That was a real mud race.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that was legit.
Not just a rainy, night like Tampa, which was still a perfectly fine track.
Yeah.
This was a true mud battle. I mean, it's almost like one of those old Daytona, when Chad's bike grenades on the last lap. I mean, that's what I'm thinking of when I see this race. So, you have to embrace that moment and be excited about it. So that was exciting to see, just the racing overall. But even with Barsha, I was like, man, he's going to toss this thing away right here at the end.
In the whoops, he almost did it a few times.
Yeah.
Well, like watching the 250 main, I'm like, it really doesn't look bad. Like they're hitting like the rhythms.
Yeah.
And then like it got worse.
Yeah.
But
till you see RJ Joe go jet ski in the last turn.
So you finally saw that?
Oh yeah.
The next day, I'm like, have you watched the race? And he's like, not yet. And I was like, wait till you see your boy RJ, dude.
I'm very close with RJ, so it's funny to see it. I mean, he basically said straight up, as soon as I got outside of that main line, it was just like riding on ice. I mean,
the thing is, I get it. It was for second. Like, you're going for it. But, man, had he not crashed,
yeah. He would have been in the second row. Second row, section 137.
You're for sure clearing the concrete. You're in the stands.
I actually have respect for Jet and how he handled that whole situation too. You know, like
no, I do too. And I mean, that's one thing about it. You know, being at the dog pound and knowing the relationships, and you get to see that. And there's so much emotion from me as a fan side watching you guys on the track. You know, when you build a personal relationship with somebody, especially all of our guys at the dog pound, and then RJ growing up here in Florida forever. I mean, you know, you get so heated and worked up when you see stuff go. And that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, outside of, you know, racing in your career, we always do stuff on these episodes where we talk to different people about, you know, life in general outside of racing. Are you a fan of the sport? I mean, are you one of the guys that comes back home on a Tuesday and rewatches the whole race, or are you just like, nope, I'm going for Saturday?
So for the majority of my career, I've been like, I don't want to watch the race. It's just, I don't know why.
They talked about you a lot in New Jersey.
I haven't watched New Jersey, which is weird that I haven't watched it yet. I will watch it before the weekend, but like...
Is that because you don't want to watch yourself?
They don't show me anyway, so it's...
Well, they do.
They had
not often.
They had good coverage of you this
I'm
week.
just saying, like, is this a Dr. Phil moment right here?
No. No. I don't know. I've just never been like that into watching it. Yeah. And then... But like, I watched the MXGPs like every weekend. But now my son is 2 and like he's obsessed with dirt bikes. Yeah. He wants to watch Supercross all the time.
Yeah.
And so like that has now like I want to watch him. I don't know. Right. It's like a thing that I like doing with him. I like watching the races with him.
Well, it's bonding, you know.
Well,
I like to watch them now.
Yeah, my son's the exact same way. I mean, he wants to watch the replay 3 times throughout the week, and
they watch us on YouTube too.
Yeah, we'll walk it. We'll walk in, you know, from somewhere, and you know, my son's inside, and he's got the podcast playing on YouTube, and he's watching it. Which I mean, I don't tell people, but I bribe him with candy, so we get the views. But
can you watch? Hey, when you're done watching it, watch it again.
Yeah, just keep it on replay. But we do enjoy watching the races, so it's fun. So okay, so we did that. We talked about if you're a fan of the sport. Do you rewatch the races? We got through that. So one thing that we've done quite a bit, music. Favorite music, Benny Bloss.
That's tough.
Or playlist.
Yeah, playlist. I mean, it could be a variation.
It's weird because like I've gone through like so many different, like I like this genre, then I like this genre, then I like right now it's like country and rap.
Yeah.
It's those two.
It's probably because Nashville's coming up.
It just depends. It just depends on like what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
Some days I'll listen to some rap on the way to the track. Some days I'll listen to country.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, like I'd really more like older rap, not a lot of the newer stuff.
I'm right there with you.
So
you just mentioned Nashville and country and rap. We're going to Nashville this weekend, and Ludacris is playing there.
Yep.
We should partake in that.
All right, let's skip the racing. Let's go to Luda.
Let's go to Luda.
Okay, so the next
it's a day race, so maybe you can hit both.
Yeah, which that's actually a pretty cool format for Nashville.
Unless you got to be at the track at 5 a.m. Saturday.
Do you?
I don't know if
I haven't seen the event schedule.
Someone told me that which I think they're doing a track walk on Friday.
Yeah, I did see that.
Track walks at 6:30 on Saturday.
At Atlanta, it was 6:30, but someone told me it's earlier at Nashville, which
I haven't seen.
The damn sun ain't even up.
Yeah, in Atlanta, it was dark. But we walked so in Atlanta they had track walk. You could walk it Friday, so I walked it Friday. But then they still had riders meeting was at 7:00. But this week they have riders meeting.
It's like an outdoor schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about old school rap and country, but one of the other things that we talk about is trying to let the listeners get to know a rider in Benny Bloss. The next thing is food. Do you have a go-to spot, like either throughout the week of training, or is there a specific food regiment for Benny on race day?
Yeah. Honestly, I DoorDash a lot on race day.
Really?
Yeah, which people find just super weird.
How do you get it into the truck?
What do you? I just
Like you got somebody that goes out and meets them?
I go out and meet them.
Really?
Meet them like at the gate on my scooter.
Oh, nice.
DoorDash, chicken and rice. Some like I've had certain truck drivers in the past that will like cook a bunch, so then you just eat whatever they have. But
yeah,
this year
Shane?
DoorDash. My Grant Harlan does Chipotle, so sometimes I'll have Chipotle.
Yeah.
With him.
Well, I know that's a big thing at the Dog Pound now. I mean,
Oh, they go to Chipotle every day.
They're
Yeah.
keeping that one at Zephyr Hills open.
yeah, it's
not that good.
I probably need to call.
Specifically that location.
That one specifically is not that good.
No.
They don't know any better though. They've never been to another one.
Yeah, they're
Every day is just too much.
Yeah.
yeah. But
My
they're-
kid's got it. My kid likes to go to the track though, and he has to nap at 1:30. So usually I don't have time.
so you don't
Go to
partake in
Chipotle.
the boys
I've been to Chipotle with them twice.
lunch with the boys. Almost every day, it's like a set structure.
I would never go to that, especially if Drew Adams and. Man, you know what kind of antics those yahoos are doing in Chipotle? Probably like no.
Dude, it is funny to be around that group though, man. That's one thing I do like about the Dog Pound is,
Yeah.
you know, you've got a really cool, fun group of guys there. I mean, and honestly, all the people that are involved with it, like you mentioned, you know, Burner's around, Dazzy's around, and, you know, we got Renee over there too that's always cracking jokes. And, you know, between Jet and Hunter, which Hunter's a little bit more serious. I really enjoy talking with Hunter. I mean, he and I kind of talk more, I want to say business, but it's more like
Intellectual.
yeah, like race team stuff. Like we get to sit down and talk about
Smart dude.
Very, very. And I don't know if a lot of people get to see that, you know, just because of who they are. But I really enjoy talking with him because he's got great ideas and he's very real, you know, when it comes to talking about aspects of the program. And I try to bounce a lot of ideas off of him and Dazzy and everything about what we're doing. But even when we had Jet on the episode, you know, Benny, one of the last two questions I want to have on this before we get into something extremely serious. Favorite thing about racing? And I'm talking about the entire program. I mean, do you enjoy the grind during the week to try and get the result on the weekend? Do you enjoy the traveling to different cities and seeing different places? Do you enjoy the fan interaction on Saturday, or is it the racing itself?
I really enjoy the racing. I hate the travel.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like getting to go places, but I hate having to get on a plane every weekend.
it's a two-part.
It gets old.
It's
Yeah.
a two-part
You know.
question. So it's what is your favorite thing and what is your least favorite thing? So it sounds like you're going straight to the least favorite thing.
Least favorite thing's travel.
Travel. So you're just talking about the grind of airport.
Yeah.
One weekend, or 1 week after the next.
I don't love, like, it's really hard for me to get my mind to shut off, like, right after the race. So when I go back to the hotel and I'm trying to sleep, like, I get an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
And then you get up for the 6 a.m. flight, which I don't enjoy that much. But favorite thing, man, I really like the racing. The fan interaction is cool, too.
Yeah.
Not always, but, like, at Glendale, I think it was Glendale, this kid and his dad and his sister came up and they were like, hey, can we get an autograph? And I signed their hat or something. And the kid was like super excited. He was probably, I don't know, he looked like he was maybe 8.
Okay.
And he was like, he said it was his first Supercross he'd ever been to. And he was so excited to be there. And he wanted to try to get as many signatures as he could. And he's like, I want to be here one day. I want to do what you do. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I went up and I grabbed a jersey and I signed it and I gave it to him. And the look on this kid's face was just like, he was so excited. And it's just like that.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
that
Like,
is
that's what it's about.
That's super awesome.
I hate when people, like, I get it, kids want plastics and stuff, but like, I hate when kids come up and they've got, 6 things of plastic. They've got goggles, like all this stuff. And they're like, hey, you got anything free? And it's like, what's my name?
Right.
Can't even tell me what my name is. You just want the free stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like
I'd rather give something to that kid who's so, like, appreciative of it,
I experienced that a lot, obviously, throughout the years. And I'm like, did y'all, sometimes I gathered like the whole little group of kids up. And I'm like, did y'all even come here for the race? Or you just come here to get stuff? Like, what's wrong with you kids? Like.
And, like, stuff from people you're not even a fan of.
Yeah,
you
like, you don't
care
even
about.
Like you don't even know whose plate that is, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I used to ham it up with those kids, but I was actually trying to prove a point to them. Like,
Yeah.
yo, man, like just because you know it looks like everybody's got all this money, you know, doesn't mean we're just handing out free stuff all day.
Yeah. You
know?
come to my truck, I'm going to start taking some of those plates back. Like, hey, man, I need that next weekend. Give me that Tomac plate or give me that Bloss plate.
Last weekend, I for sure made some. There was these 2 kids that came up, and they were probably like 16, and I pissed them off because they were like, they came up, you got any free parts?
Parts.
I'm like, what?
Parts.
You got anything free from that bike we can have? And I was like, they were talking to Harlan, and I was like, do you know how he did today? And they're like, no. I said, do you know what his name is? No. I said, what's my name? I don't know. I don't care. I said, why don't you go over to someone you're a fan of and ask them for something? And that's probably not like the way to handle it, right?
Well,
but
to be honest with you, though, Benny,
It's irritating.
it irritated me.
Yeah.
And they said,
That's a
well,
good
Coop,
approach.
They said, Coop's not going to come out and give us anything. And I said,
That's
man,
right. That's not
tough.
That's not Coop's job.
Then go
And
talk
it's
to
not-
Coop.
I said,
It's
that's a bummer.
It's not my job to give you free stuff. That's not what I'm here for. You know, like.
And it's like they just like.
That's a
and
good approach, though. I mean, I
so-
like that.
So they were like mad or whatever, and he got all pissy, and he was like, "You racing the 450 class tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, good luck," and like laughed as he walked away. And I'm like,
Or you can be like, you know, when we used to race in Toronto, you just be like Canadians, they just walk in the truck and take whatever they want and bounce. They don't even ask.
Wow.
At the end of the night, you know, because the beer's stronger in Canada, and so those guys get tuned up, and they come and just steal your cones. They'll steal anything.
Trust me, I believe
want
there's
something.
there's going to be some tuned up people in Nashville.
for sure.
I'm gonna come ask Benny for some free parts.
What's my name?
We ain't got nothing, too. That's the,
What's
we
my
don't have
name?
anything extra.
All
We
right.
use our plastics.
So we went through favorite thing, fan interaction, and the racing itself. Least favorite things, probably the grind of the travel. I mean, it can be a lot going nonstop, week in, week out, over and over. So let's talk about the most serious thing about the conversation on this episode. The Benny Bloss Future MX Radio Nashville bonus. You already said chug the boot. You've got that going with one of your friends, so we can't take that one. You already got the shoes from your mom for the top 10, so we can't take that one. What are we going to negotiate here as far as the Benny Bloss Nashville weekend?
I think we should do, I don't know, like 10K to make the night show. What do we think?
I was kind of thinking like $10.
10K to make the night show.
Yeah, it's tough these days.
Yeah, coming off of a P8, it's real tough.
Man, that's I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I think I got like $7 in my pocket. So, I mean, we can do that for a night show, but we got to do something exciting. Like maybe, I mean, can we get a Benny Bloss jersey or something? Like if we make a good negotiation that we can do, and maybe we can try and do something with a fan.
I got
Like
one.
If you listen to the episode, we can do something with that.
We can do something.
I got one.
Oh, okay, give it to me.
If you get top 5, he has to swim across that pond at the entrance of the dog pound.
It'd have to be in the morning, though, because I only ever see the gators.
Yeah. Thanks, Shane.
I've jet skied in that pond before, and my jet ski stalled in the middle of that pond, and I walked on water to get to the shore. No joke.
Well, we
I
need
actually
to,
saw a gator in there today, so.
we got to come up with something. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about it. We got to come up with a Nashville bonus for the Future MX Radio podcast for the Benny Bloss weekend, as we're all going. My wife Anna's going. Shane and his wife Natalie is going. We've got Pooh. Sam is all going. We've got an Airbnb 1 mile from the stadium. We got Tyler Bright flying up with us. We would take TC, but he just had his 17th kid, so he can't go. So we've got a big crowd going, and I'll tell you a bit of a team update right here while you chew on what the bonus is going to be. For us, we fully intended on taking the semi and going to Atlanta and Nashville. Anybody that follows us on our Instagram can see that both of our Supercross guys were injured, unfortunately, throughout the year. Cole with his arm in Texas, and then Aiden having a practice crash, which, Betty, you were there when that went down, and had some partially torn ligaments, 3 partially torn ligaments in his ankle. So Atlanta and Nashville are off the table, and officially our 2023 Supercross season for Future MX is done for this year. So that, creates some different elements there. As we had a great partnership for this year with HBI Racing and Mr. Matt Bell. Can't thank them enough for everything they did and learning this whole thing. Benny, you've been in it for, going on 8 years now, with your first race being in 2015, even though it was one race. But you've seen the side of it. For us, it's brand new, being in the amateur, going into the pro. It's an eye-opening experience with, just truly how expensive this sport is. And, Benny, you and I get to talk about some of that stuff off the air about, learning the inner workings of the sport and, some of the deals and how they happen and things that get created. So, it's definitely something that we want to learn from after our first year of being in Supercross and the East Coast Lights with Cole Bradford and Aiden Shive. Proud of the things that we accomplished. Both of these guys never racing a professional Supercross race before, making night shows and continuing to get in for main events. It was definitely an exciting year for us. But as far as that goes, it is officially, over for us with Supercross. But we are still going to go to Nashville and have a good time up there and start to have some conversations and figure out what our game plan is, for the remainder of the outdoors this year. As it looks right now, Aiden should be getting back on a bike and, within the next couple of weeks after his ankle injury. So we'll try and let him kind of ease back into things and probably race a couple outdoors on a 450. Cole is going to go racing with the HBI racing team, Matt Bell. They're going to, kind of do their own thing with their team, which is awesome. He wants to build his brand up and his team. And I think that's great for them, and wish all of them the best of luck, and Cole and the whole team in general. Good deal for them. And then, for us, I think the goal right now would be focusing on 2024 East Coast Supercross, trying to do some sponsorship things. This weekend in Nashville, we've got a couple meetings lined up, some people that we want to talk to up there. So we're going to go have a good time and, have those conversations and figure out what we want to do for next year. So that's just a little bit of a Future MX team update from that standpoint, see how it all shakes out. But in the meantime, we'll go have some fun, Sugar.
Yeah, I mean, now that we're not racing up there, I'm gonna try to get in there and see Gibson guitars. I'm trying. I got some plans. I got to go see things up there.
Yeah, well, I heard there might be a little bit of an influence with Gibson this weekend, so we might need to go see them and tell them what kind of collection that you got here on the wall. And
maybe they'll sponsor a race team.
Yeah, say, man, we can bring a lot of these Gibsons to the races, put them on display. But we need to go have that conversation with them. And there's a lot of cool places in Nashville that I do want to check out and see. And there's quite a few people that we want to watch, and one of those is Benny Bloss. We want to go up there and support Benny, being a dog pound guy. And I think Benny and I talked about it a little bit before the episode. I think Hunter's 1 point away. I think he has to finish 19th or better for clinching his championship and his coast. So
I think that's 3 points.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's 26 to win.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think he's got a strong chance looking at his season so far, and to be there for that weekend and that night would be special. To join him in his championship win, and to be there to support guys like Benny and Hunter and Garrett Hoffman. I know is riding too, and some of the guys at the dog pound. So I look forward to going up there. And I know, Sugar, we get to go have a little bit of fun since we don't have guys on the track. It's a little bit different of a vibe for us, not having the semi and being at the truck all the time and worrying about the logistics of racing. So we really get to bother you, Benny.
Yeah, let's hear this. What do we think the chances are all the dog pounds guys get the invite to the Lawrence after party, or what do we think?
I don't know, man. I think we're going to have to kind of figure that one out, how it goes.
No.
I mean, we can't really commit to doing a party until he clinches it,
True.
Is Dan going this weekend?
Oh, yeah. Dan's flying up tomorrow morning.
So if there's a party, we'll get to go because Dan will have all the wristbands. Trust me.
Well, we'll have to talk to him about that, but I don't think, anybody, we always want everybody to do the best they can, but you definitely don't want to put the dog before
No, for sure.
the horse or whatever it is, the cart before the horse, whatever.
Well, if there's not a championship party, Dan will still have wristbands to another party. So
we'll just go to that one.
No, we're going to go to the party straight to the airport.
Someone will have a championship party at some point. I think mathematically at this point, I'm out of the 450 championship, unfortunately, but...
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, we'll get back in.
Hey, there's always 24, man.
Always 24.
Can we just get you like to like your tip top shape for Anaheim 1?
Yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah.
We're going to have a killer outdoor season and then go from there.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really talk about the outdoor plans. What are the outdoor plans? You going to try and do the whole outdoor season?
Yeah, the plan is to do outdoors for Rock River.
Okay.
So
hit all the outdoors and then end that on a super high note, get a really great ride and go into 24. I mean, right off the gate at A1 with a top 5.
that's the plan.
Yeah, I like it.
That's the plan.
I think that's good. So we just the only thing we got to map out right now is what's our Nashville bonus. We've got to do something for Benny. He's taking time out of his day to come out here on the show. We get to go bother him all weekend long.
So if he gets to, what you're getting at is if he gets to a certain result, you're going to reward Benny with something.
Yeah, I mean, like chugging the boot thing. You know, he did that already.
I mean,
chugging
we
the boot,
could do that.
and then he's got the free
make
pair
the
of
night
shoes.
show.
I think if
Both
you
have to do a shoey, one from each boot.
No, I'm not doing that, dude.
Come on.
that's a big boot. Benny.
I'll let
You're
you.
a tall
I'll let
dude.
you pick.
Let me see your feet right now. I want to see how clean they are.
I'll let you. Hey,
Size 17.
I'll let you pick
That's a lot of beer, dude.
the beer that goes in there.
Modelo, I'll do it all day long.
What about this? What
You're
about
gonna do a
this?
shoey with Modelo?
Dude,
Picture this. We put like tequila in there, really get you going.
Not a
Hey.
not a shoey. A tequila.
I did a beer bong once in Lot B at Redbud. Half Guinness, half vodka.
Oh,
That is not a good idea.
Tasted good, dude.
That
To be honest
is
with you, I
not
ain't
a
gonna
good
lie.
idea.
no thanks.
And I started dancing after that.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Benny, you make the night show. Then
No, he's gonna make the night show.
Then-
I'm
never
not
know.
betting on
We
the
never
night show, dude.
then Future MX gets a Benny Bloss jersey that we could give away to a fan.
Okay, this seems like it's going the opposite.
Yeah,
way.
it's way opposite.
Well, and then a top 10,
I want free parts.
Future MX gets free parts. No, I'm kidding. We do got to give away a Benny Bloss jersey though. We got to work on that part.
we can do that. That's easy.
We'll do that to the side. So
I know
think
a guy who has some.
I think that if we do a top 10, which is absolutely possible, we did it this past weekend as a P8. I think that it's got to be $1,000 a bonus.
I'm in on that.
I mean,
I'm in on that.
I think that if we do a top 10, then it's a Future MX $1,000 bonus for a top 10 in Nashville.
Supporting Benny's program.
Yeah, I mean, you support us and you help us, and I appreciate you at the compound, always checking out for us and picking Aiden up off the track and being there for us. So in this scenario, I mean, you did a P8 last weekend. I mean, this weekend's got to be an improvement because you get better as the season goes on. So a top 10 is easily doable.
I think it is doable. I'm good with that deal. Also, I don't know how it's looking currently, but I know that there was earlier in the week, it was looking like there could be another mutter. So
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I saw the weather.
I
It's
did.
supposed to rain the whole damn time.
this should be pretty exciting. It could go either really well or really bad.
You can't just throw that out there on the air, buddy. You gotta like shake hands or something.
Oh, we'll do it. It's on camera. See, there's
All right,
camera
there we
there, there's
go.
camera there,
All
there's
right.
camera over here. So no, that's a done deal. Top 10 for Benny Bloss to 44 on your Instagram. It's bbloss44. Top 10 Future MX Radio will come up somehow with $1,000.
Dude. You know how many guests we're gonna have now after this if it happens?
Hey, yeah, maybe it's an incentive.
There's
Maybe
no
it's-
more you calling people. You're getting phone calls now.
They're gonna start calling you. Can we come on your show, dude, and make one of those deals that you make?
Maybe it's an incentive, But I think that's a great goal, and it's obviously an achievable goal because you did it this past weekend. So we go up there, especially if it's a mutter. He's
We're
probably
gonna have to sell that dirt bike right there to afford this.
probably going to win. Then we will do a shoey of vodka or whatever.
Yeah, Benny, shit. I mean, if it's a mutter and you win, dude.
If Benny
I'll do a
wins
shoe.
a 450 main, I'm doing a shoe.
Yeah, we'll just do it all together.
Yeah, no, I mean we can sweeten the deal a little bit and do a top 5 for Benny. We got potential mutters here this weekend and stuff like that. You can be there. You were there this past weekend and you had it. I mean, I think a top 5 is definitely a Shane and RJ shoey.
I agree. One from each boot, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we can do that. A top 5.
You don't have athlete's foot or anything, do you?
Oh,
okay,
my
good.
feet are clean.
Sweet.
Oh, that's,
I have been told by the A-Stars guy I have some of the worst smelling boots.
You shouldn't have said that, dude.
yeah, don't say that.
That sweetens
man.
it for me.
All right,
For you
so
to
we
know.
got the deal then. We got the deal.
right.
A main event, then we get a jersey. a top 10 is $1,000, and a top 5 is a shoey from Shane and I out of Benny's boot.
Yep.
Done.
We're going to have also a custom kit this weekend.
Oh, that's
I can't say exactly, what it is, but I will be having a custom
Nice.
FXR with a custom painted.
So you're saying that's the jersey we get?
Well, the FXR jersey is just like one of their newer jerseys, but I've got a custom painted Arai for the weekend.
There we go.
Haven't seen it yet, but some custom graphics that will go with the helmet as well. So
Nice.
Some new boots as well. So
Well, some new boots.
A-Stars.
Perfect.
Get me set
Why
up.
don't you use the old raggedy, stinky boots, bro?
Hey, we're not
they
taking
will,
it.
they
We're
will
not
be
taking
brand
it
new
out
on
of the.
Saturday, so maybe we'll have to get
Yeah.
my other ones.
Don't give me any
For the
old
shoe.
practice boots, Benny.
Yeah, I know there's some dirty old ones in the truck.
Yeah, he's gonna try and bring them with him. Be like, oh, I got them. No. We want brand new ones. You just said it. Well, Nashville, being in Music City, it's going to be a fun time. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of great vibes and fun at that race, so I'm looking forward to it. But Benny, while we got you on this episode, before we wrap it up, who do you want to thank for the people that's got you, up here this year?
Obviously, first off, the Rock River Man Luck Yamaha race team, getting me to all the races and keeping me set up. Arai helmets, keeping me safe, keeping my head safe. FXR gear, Pod knee braces, Alpine Star boots. Obviously, Oakley for the vision.
Oh, yeah.
On and off the track, keeping me all set up. All the team sponsors, Dunlop, obviously helping out with tires, which is nice. I believe Decal Works getting us set up with our graphics.
Yeah.
We've got ODI bars and grips, best you can get, Sunstar, sprockets. Really everyone that supports the whole Rock River team. I got my Sunjoe power washer at home, used to clean my truck with my slick products as well. So kind of helping everywhere, not just on the track. So.
Well, that's awesome. And then
Yeah. My parents and my family as well, obviously.
Yeah, don't forget the wife.
Enzo
and kid.
Racing.
The wife and kid.
The wife and kid would be upset if I don't. Especially Luca. He would be just really upset. He's not going to know, but maybe.
Well, mom and dad always, helping you get throughout this career that we've talked about. You've talked about how much your parents have done for you. So that's awesome to have them around. Your wife, meeting her, you said, what was it, multiple years ago? You said, what, 13, 14?
Yeah, so we met in we were 15. She was 14. Met in 2012. Started dating in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
That's
cool.
awesome, dude. That's awesome. And you got your little boy now that you get to rewatch the races with and loving the sport. So that's great. And a huge thank you to Oakley for being a part of this. Episode 27. Like we said before, the Sutro glasses that are sitting here on the table, these are the ones that I choose to wear throughout the week. I have them in a couple different variations, which is awesome. As you can see on the YouTube channel, but if you're listening on Spotify, Oakley shoes, shorts, hat, some of the most comfortable stuff, that we have to wear. So we'll be representing them this weekend when we go to Nashville, and Benny will be representing them as well, wearing those air brake goggles. Whether it's a mudder or not, we'll be going through it. So that's awesome. I want to appreciate or thank everybody for listening to this episode 27. We'll keep going. Sugar, anything else?
Oh, man, I'm good.
Benny,
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
let's go racing in Nashville.